We have friends. Wow, look at this one. Okay. And this is a dream. We get more like blues or something? I don't even know. What should we do, by the way? Should I go try to find blues? Where are we going here? Okay, there's nobody there. Okay. Alright. So let's not worry too much. Let's just kill. Right? Let's just kill like as if we were playing and having fun. Yeah. Everybody, come on in, dudes. It's like, we can get another ring soon anyway, probably. Sure. Oh yeah. Blues, come on in. Come on in, blues. Also, can this guy come? That's all I kind of care about, but... Or can everybody come here instead? Is the yellow coming? Oh, nice. They're coming too? Oh, Jesus. Oh wait, there's more blues? Where are they coming from? Oh, okay, hold on. Oh, even more blues? Okay. Where are they coming from? Alright. Oh my God. Dude, that's insanity. Cook. Okay, there's another ring there. All the little guys have to come in here, please. And these blues. Okay. We're nicely ahead. Okay, we're at 69. Wow, dude. This is kind of insane. The density here, although I hate this map. I do hate this map, but the Analogist. Dang, dude. Oh, and there's another one here? Okay. Alright. Come on in, people. Okay, illusionist. Come on down, boy. Okay, speed. We can take that. Okay, come on, blues. Is he gonna come down here? Okay, beautiful. That's blues coming down here too. down, boys.
Needs more time. My strike is true. Need more time.
He still didn't die. Of course. Okay, but we have a nice little leap. Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay, nice. So screw him, right?
Needs more time.
Is everybody here?
Need more time.
Oh, okay.
My curse upon you. His spirit smile upon you. Not ready yet.
Okay. Another illusionist, which is great.
Needs more time.
Oh, of course, channeling.
Need more time.
Okay, can the illusionist come here? Where are you, buddy? Come on. I just need to get... Get this yellow down. Okay.
Needs more time.
And then look for a pylon before we cross.
Evil undoes you.
No, 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 no! Really?
Need more time.
Jesus. How much time we got? 6 minutes left? I don't think this is possible, dude. And this was such a great attempt. But this boss freaking sucks, I'm not gonna lie.
Needs more time.
By the way, let's see if we can find a would there have been like a hidden little dang it, no. Highlight. How did those guys how did that pop?
Need healing. I am hurt. Not ready yet.
Well, all I could do now is hope that somehow
Need more time.
I am able to kill this guy. I mean, I don't think I can. I don't think we have enough time. I don't think we have enough time. We have no pylon whatsoever.
Needs more time.
freaking moving because of them. Freaking insane because my damage goes down.
Need help. Heal me.
Dude, how is the Manitou not freaking getting him from there? Dude, what a freaking waste. Again, now I'm just disappointed. That was an actual good dream. And somehow, see, like, that's kind of BS. Somehow, I overshot it, but like by a lot. Because there's no way that I should have spawned him. Normally it takes forever. There's no freaking way I should have spawned him. And now I'm getting procced.
I cannot do that.
Get out of town, bro. Dude, and how is the Manitou not even hitting him?
I cannot do that.
I mean, unless if he pops somehow. But I don't think that's gonna happen. Guess you never know with freaking this game. That's what happens.
We need more time.
That's what happens with this game, is you never freaking know.
We need more time.
Wow.
Triumphed.
So, I did do it? What? Wow. Woo! Maybe because I was under the impression that I needed way more time on the boss without a pylon than before, but woo, okay. Congratulations, Jables. That took me by surprise, dude. Also, because I was a little ticked off from all the other previous attempts. Whoa, okay. It's not my personal best, but it is a 150 using Mundunugu, which is the first time that I did the 150 on Mundunugu. So, wow, congratulations, Jables. Alright, what should we do? A 150. Okay, nice. That's our second 150. Should we go for this, or should we go for... this? It's almost 100%.
I need to go back.
Oh, nice. All 4 upgrades. Well, lucky me. Well, congratulations.
Impressive.
The spirits grant me blessings.
There we go. Okay. Let's check out the leaderboard. So this is my not Mundunugu, but here is going to be my Mundunugu. Oh, wow, I'm second. Could have been first. If I had a power, I would have been first for sure. Probably all on the overall even. If I had a power, oh yeah. I would have done the 150 in like 12 minutes maybe. Yeah, that would have been an awesome 150. But yeah, so far we did Helltooth. We did Spirit of Eric here, the spiders, and Mundunugu. Now we also want to, oh, which by the way, yes, let's, there we go. That's our Mundunugu. Also, let's do hero details. All right, so let's talk about the build. For the build, what I ended up using was the Guardians, because that's, let's just get that right out of the way. Oh, by the way, I don't know why I'm doing it over there. But yeah, I used the Guardians set. All right. Normally, people tend to want to go with Captain Crimson's for the damage and the cooldown, and then the resource cost, and then the damage reduction, right? In that sense. But I am just above Paragon 2000, so Guardian is still perfectly fine. It roughly equates to the same amount at this Paragon, I would say. Roughly like a 30-ish percent damage increase, right? Let me show you what happens if I take out Guardians. Or like, sorry, like a 50-ish percent increase, right? And the same thing would happen with Captain Crimson's if you like had some, cooldown rolls and all that stuff. So it's roughly the same, because we go from 20k to 30k intelligence, right? That's half, so 50% increase. And you also go to, pretty much half vitality. So that's definitely a 50% like toughness increase. But let's go over some gear. So you need Voo's Juicer for that beautiful 60% Spirit Barrage damage bonus. All right. For the GR pushing, along with Gazing Demise. And in this case, for like the GR push, you cannot run Shukranis, because you need the Barber in the cube. And so yeah, you got to go Voo's Juicer with Gazing Demise, and hopefully you could get a nice roll. This I primified, and as you see, I got attack speed, because attack speed is actually a separate multiplier for the Spirit Barrage, for the Phantasms. It does not affect like the Manitou or anything like that, but for the Phantasms themselves, which are right here, I believe. No. Where are the Phantasms? These guys. It's coming from the Gazing Demise. It says that Spirit Barrage gains a Phantasm rune, right? And they last twice as long. Those guys benefit from attack speed, and that is like technically your main damage DPS. So you want attack speed. I ended up putting elite damage on here as well. It probably helped me on the boss right there, to be honest with you. And I would go ahead and primify this if I were you, if I had a choice. Unless if you got an amazing roll on an ancient, or you got a primal one before, then you could potentially primify Gazing Demise. And the Barber. Now, you do not want to have the Barber equipped, because the Barber does not come with any Spirit Barrage damage, like Witch Doctor only. Do you guys see that stat right under my rerolled increased damage against elites by 8%? Yeah, the Barber does not come with that stat on it, which is why you need this one, Okay, you need to be wielding Boost Juicer, so this is a pretty much you have no other options. And you also have no other options here. You cannot go with Shukranis and put the Gazimais in here because the barber is required for this build. Alright? But besides that, you go with full Mundunugu outside the gloves because we are wearing Ring of Royal Grandeur. So I have on the helm, the chest, the pants, the shoes, and the shoulders. However, you can opt to go with the gloves from Mundunugu while wearing the Guardian's helmet. However, the Guardian's helmet to go with the Guardian's belt. This, to get a good rolled helmet with Spirit Barrage damage is incredibly difficult. And crit, by the way. Yeah. So you want intelligence, crit, and Spirit Barrage damage. You could forego the Spirit Barrage damage and just go with, for example, Vitality. Or forego crit and go Vitality and just have the Spirit Barrage damage or whatever. But if you want to maximize, it's definitely easier to get a Mundunugu's mask, like a voodoo mask, versus crafting a Guardian's helm. I could show you guys mine. Mine also did not have Spirit Barrage damage on it. But this is an overall good one, trust me, because all the stats are random on the Guardian's Gaze, and I believe it comes naturally with movement speed, which is horrible. But yeah, you're not guaranteed intelligence, you're not guaranteed vitality, you're not guaranteed anything besides movement speed on a Guardian's, okay? So it's way better to just go with the Mundunugu and go with the bracers for Guardians with the belt. And where you would normally wear Lakumbas, that's where you would put Lakumbas in here, which kind of forces you into this position. And it also forces you to wear Stone Gauntlets. Because if you were to wear Lakumbas and you were to have Guardian's helm, which means that you are wearing Mundunugu's gloves, you'd be putting the Stone Gauntlets into your cube. So the cube is going to be rotated between Lakumbas or Stone Gauntlets, and it's either you wear the Guardian's helm or you wear the Mundunugu helm. And so pretty much whichever you have better, whether do you have better Stone Gauntlets or do you have better Guardian helm, I think is the question, right? That needs to be answered for yourself. Besides that, the bracers, you want to go with cold damage. And as I was saying earlier, attack speed is kind of huge because it's a separate multiplier. So attack speed, not anywhere you can get it, but you actually want to not go over 2.38 attacks per second. Oh, and you just saw that drop off. But I was at 2.29. So you want to be between, yeah, you don't want to go over 2.38 naturally. And the reason that I had that boost before it just went away is because from the seasonal theme, right? Or maybe it's from the altar, I'm not sure. But whenever you pop your potion, you get a random shrine buff. So with the Frenzy Shrine, I am able to hit whatever you guys just saw. As long as that's over 2.27, I believe, and under 2.38, we're in that perfect sweet spot. But anything up to 2.38 is good, for the boss at least, because afterwards the damage actually gets cut off because the damage will not have enough time to accumulate. Where is my cube? To accumulate from the barber. And so what actually ends up happening is if you spam like this, like how you would on the boss, right, to stack Stricken, the explosions from the accumulated damage will not have gone far enough, or aka long enough, to like do, you know, your regular damage. You're actually going to be cutting your damage short. and there are specific breakpoints where you want to avoid. So in that case, I only had six attack speed here, but yours could be a 7. And I had a 7 on my ring, so I do need one full 7. You could have a second full 7, meaning like a perfect 7 roll, and then I had a 5, and that's it. I actually also have a beautiful Traveler's Pledge that's a golden trio with attack speed, crit, and crit, but I ended up opting out of it. Where is it? Right here. And it had an augment. I had to opt out of it because on the Guardian itself, I would have had a bad, damage stacking, pretty much. Okay. Now, would your Stricken stack faster? Yes, but your damage each time that it exploded would have been bad. Now, if you have a boss like a Rift Guardian that does not move, so if you want to put even more RNG into your run, like for example, if you're trying to push that 150, if you find a Rift Guardian that does not move whatsoever and is a single target, then guess what? The more attack speed you got, the better. Because then what you could do is literally just do this 1, 2, 3, and just wait for them to naturally expire and explode. You know what I mean? So if that's the case, if you get a Rift Guardian like that, then the more attack speed, the better. But I opted for a cold skill. What's it called? Travelers. Oh yeah, and I didn't even talk about that. Yeah, so Guardians. So Guardians belt and bracers. Mundunugu, the rest of it, with stone gauntlets on the side. Travelers pledge combo, and see, I did get the attack speed here. So I pretty much, what you want to do is you want to have 3 attack speed rolls somewhere this season, that is. Okay. And I believe they could all be perfect, but I think it would be almost better if you didn't get one that's perfect. At least one. 2 of them I know could be perfect, 7 and 7, but you don't want the last one possibly to be perfect. Maybe I'm mistaken. You also don't want the attack speed from your Enchantress, okay? But you do want to hit that 2.27, which we did hit, right? We were at 2.29. You want to hit 2.27 if you want to do the most damage before going overboard when it comes to your Rift Guardian kill. All right, but throughout the Rift, obviously, the more attack speed, the better, right? If you can just do this and chill and just let it expire by itself, or maybe after 5 seconds or so do another 3, right? Then that's fine too. Anyways, wherever else I could, I got crit. Cold damage is actually kind of huge because we no longer put Mask of Jerem in here, so your cold skill damage does not get diluted with Mask of Jerem like the pet builds do. So you want that. That's why I also opted for cold damage in my Essence of Anguish, even though I don't have the best secondary, because when you deal poison damage to an enemy, they receive 50% increased poison damage from all sources for 10 seconds. That doesn't help me at all. I should have either gotten one that had extra cooldown and extra movement speed, or maybe the one that makes the explosions. Yeah, I just literally took this for the cold skill damage. And I don't know how effective the explosions are, to be very honest. So this gem is kind of like kind of like a whatever thing, I guess. But it does help out with your cooldowns, I guess. And then I also went with the Sliver of Terror, of course, for the Ring of Fire. And I have beautifully rolled this with melee damage reduction of 19%, which is huge. But this is also in my other build video, or other 150 clear with the other builds. I talked about this extensively, but this was a great roll. But anyways, you want armor. I got life and armor. You do want an armor roll here as well with Spirit Barrage damage, and it could only roll on these 2 things. Now, if you are lucky enough to get Spirit Barrage damage on your Gazing Demise, then good for you. All right, you want as close to a 150 roll as possible. Um, I wish that mana regen was something else because I am rocking Rush of Essence. All right, which actually we did not go over the skills, but obviously Spirit Barrage, Mana 2, Locust Swarm, Cloud of Insects. I opted for this because of the damage reduction. I feel like, you know, monsters are either going to come or not come, and I don't mind spamming this a few more extra times to just to get them to deal less damage. Spirit Walk Jaunt for the extra second there. NATO for the grouping aspect. This has to be, I mean, this is the best grouping skill for Witch Doctors, hands down. Soul Harvest Languish for the extra armor. And now, as you can see, I actually went with Summon Zombie Dogs Leeching Beasts. And you're going to be like, well, there's something missing. There's something wrong about this Mundunugu build, isn't there, Jables? And yes, you're kind of right. I am not rocking Big Bad Voodoo. Aha! Normally, you would go with what? Big Bad Voodoo, and most likely Ghost Trance for, first of all, the damage reduction, but not too much for the damage reduction, but for the healing, right? Because you need some kind of sustain. You need some kind of recovery. And it's part of the six-piece set. It says Big Bad Voodoo now follows you and lasts twice as long. So why did you not take Big Bad Voodoo, Mr. Jables, you say? You ask? And it's literally for that attack speed reason. If I were to rock Big Bad Voodoo, while it would be up, okay, because Big Bad Voodoo gives me 15% increased attack speed. If, oh, and by the way, maybe I didn't clarify, but for these, for this whole math thing to go, like, to work with the 3 pieces, right, with attack speed on the 3 pieces, you do need attack speed on your weapon. Without attack speed on your weapon, you would need more, you would need the 4th attack speed piece, okay? If that's even possible to reach that. So, just FYI, letting you guys know ahead of time. But yeah, what was I saying? With Big Bad Voodoo, you gain 15% attack speed, which on your sheet is actually going to say 22.5, and that'll probably round up to either 23 or round down to 22, based on how much you already have, because of the 1.5 attacks per second from Boost Juicer. So Big Bad Voodoo would screw up that whole thing, which technically is not the end of the world, because again, if you, while it's active, you would need to not manually trigger it, and you would need to just let it sit there. And then once it, let's say, ran out and it was on cooldown, then you could go back into spamming as much as you want, right? For the boss, I would be kind of like in a pickle, because I want to use the Sliver of Terror, effect, which says that your cooldowns are increased by 25%, but for every skill on cooldown, you have damage reduction and you deal 12.5% increased damage, right? So I do want skills on cooldown. And I'm like, you know what? Let's try the Leeching Beasts and see if they can survive in a 150 without using Enforcer, which, by the way, I have not gone over my gems yet either. And guess what? They can survive. I don't know how, but they somehow are surviving. And they survived every time. I have not had a problem with them dying in 150. But what I am rocking is Bane of the Stricken, exactly for the boss. This is the only reason for it. Bane of the Trapped, which is a must as well. I would say this is my, this is my go-to right here, these two. And then the third one, I went with Zai's, or Zay's, Stone of Vengeance, because the tooltip is a little bit actually misleading. The 14% damage bonus that you see in the very beginning there applies immediately. You do not need 10 yards. You don't need to be 10 yards away from a monster for that to apply, okay, first of all. And it does increase every 10 yards, right? So this is just a steady damage increase in general. But really, there was not many other options. My other option would have been, what, Bane of the Powerful. But I don't know, after 20 yards, this is already better. You know what I mean? No matter what. Even if I'm versing an elite, it's better. Right? So, another option that I've seen people use is either Pain Enhancer, and that is literally just to get to the boss, right? Is just to have huge attack speed during the rift, during your trash mob pulling, like huge attack speed, which you like just start melting everything. Um, or I've seen people use Go of Swiftness if you are going with a Captain Crimson's variant, because Captain Crimson's benefits, like, gives you more damage based on how much cooldown you got, right? So cooldown for Go of Swiftness is an obvious yes, but then again, you do have to watch out because it also gives you attack speed, right? So you could either, I mean, to be honest, you could just straight up lose attack speed everywhere if you want. If you're going with Gogok and you're going with Captain Crimson's, you know, lose it so that you don't have 15%, which would be where on two pieces. You could lose it on for your gloves. Yeah, put cooldown instead of attack speed on your gloves if you want. Put cooldown instead of attack speed on one of your rings. Right? So if you want to go with Gogok. But it is a viable option, especially for Captain Crimson's. But yeah, the Pain Enhancer, for example, does not care about the attack speed thing because when you have a single target boss, you're only getting 3% attack speed anyway. Now, again, you do have to make sure that you do not cross that 2 point, what did I say it was? 2.38? Yeah, you cannot hit 2.38 or higher, okay? But with one, like with one Rift Guardian, for example, giving you 3% increased attack speed on your sheet, that will allocate to either 4 or 5, depending on how much you already have. Like 0.04 additional attack speed or 0.05 from this gem, right, on a single target. So as long as you incorporate that and you don't pass the 2.38 threshold, then this is pretty much a trash killer, right, like throughout the rift, and then nothing else. Now Zay's, on top of being a decent damage, dumper, it's also going to help out with the Rift Guardian, right? While Pain Enhancer does not. Bane of the Powerful, your other possibility, again, well, you won't have the totality on your Rift Guardian unless if you get a power pylon, all right? And as you saw, I didn't even have a power pylon, but I needed many minutes, okay, for me to kill the Rift Guardian. At Paragon, well, close to 2200, right? And by the way, I don't have anything in Vitality or Mana here. Whoops, where was I? Where was I? What was I showing you guys? Oh, this is what I'm showing you guys. Yeah, this won't last the whole time. That 20% damage increase. Now, the 15% damage versus elites will be there, right, for the Rift Guardian the whole time. So it is 15%, right, which is kind of like what my Zaze is, which is only rank 125. By the way, I only had a Bane of the Trapped at 150. This was at 146. So yeah, it's up to you guys. For the Great Rift push, I would probably not go with Bane of the Powerful. I would either go with Zaze, Gogok especially if you're going with Captain Crimson's, and then possibly Pain Enhancer as well. Gogok more so for the Captain Crimson's variation, not for the Guardians, okay? But you do want to get armor everywhere that you can as well. Let's just talk about some gear stats. Crit chance, attack speed, we already talked about it, but crit is very important. Cold damage wherever you can. Now with the Guardians, remember, int and vitality are actually important on your main thing. So like augments don't actually count towards Guardians. So it doesn't double. Like for example, any of this stuff that's augmented, the 625 intelligence, the 625, that does not get doubled from Guardians. So your inherent intelligence rolls and vitality rolls do matter, okay? Even on here. Now, if I could get rid of this intelligence to have 10% actual damage, I think I would do it. Okay? I think I would do it because it's, it's going to be, first of all, just flat. And there's just going to be more versatility, right? If you could get a golden trio, you know, like attack speed damage and elite damage, like, ooh, now, now you're rocking really well. Also, Ring of Emptiness. I mean, hopefully you guys saw it when I, was moving my mouse, but that's an obvious one. That's why we even run Cloud of Insects, right? Locust Swarm to proc that. And so yeah, that's my build, y'all. I went with Summon Zombie Dogs because I wanted to avoid the attack speed from Big Bad Voodoo. But if you don't, you can go with Big Bad Voodoo. Now remember, it's on a 120-second cooldown, so if you are relying on Grave Injustice, which I do have, you have to be able to kill fast enough for this to actually make sense, okay, for this to benefit you. On some of my other 150 clears, I just completely abandoned Grave Injustice, completely, and went with, as you can see, by the way, I need Creeping Death. Okay, I need it. I needed Rush of Essence for the boss, and I needed Swampland Attunement for the survivability throughout the Rift. So the only one that I really didn't necessarily need was Grave Injustice, which would have been so nice if I wanted to go with Confidence Ritual, right? Like that could have been there. That would have been nice. Or a Cheat Death, right? But Grave Injustice, as long as you can kill fast enough, go with this, okay? If not, go with Confidence Ritual, and then just, pretty much get a feel for when, roughly how often, you get to cast your Tornado and how long you have to wait in general. Same with Soul Harvest, so make sure you don't screw it up and, let's say, not cast it again for your next time, right? Make sure you guys are always keeping up your Soul Harvest. Make sure things are on cooldown. So make sure this is on cooldown, this is on cooldown, this is on cooldown while you're DPSing, right? You don't have to have it all on cooldown when you're just dragging things and walking around, but you can, right? What else can I say? I took Jaunt for the extra second. Now there is another important thing here: is when you're in Spirit Walk form, you actually do not deal damage from spawning this. So let's pretend I Spirit Walk and I'm doing this. Yeah, they're not doing damage right there until I come out. Just FYI. So the third second doesn't help you with anything really besides just staying alive. Okay? In reality, we're not doing Shikranis, right? Let me show you. The Shikranis, gives you up to 100% damage while you are in Spirit Walk. Yep. We're not using it, first of all, and so that's not being affected. So I just simply went with Jaunt just for the extra third second, just in case there was an explosion or something, you know what I mean? But because you're not rocking Shikranis, you can easily go with even unconventional runes, like Honored Guest. Nobody ever uses this rune, but because this is, Spirit Barrage, maybe you do want that extra mana. Maybe you don't want to go with Rush of Essence, and somehow, without going this, and somehow you want to put, you're rocking Captain Crimson's, let's pretend, which gives you resource cost reduction. Maybe you found resource cost reduction here. And mana regen, right? Maybe you found one of your rings to have resource cost reduction. Maybe you found a quadruple rolled gloves that have attack speed, crit, or crit cooldown, and then you roll off the fourth stat to resource cost reduction, right? Maybe, you could also roll resource cost reduction here, and cooldown, right? If you're going that route. You could roll mana regen on your Mundunugu helm. if you want to go even that extra mile, right? So maybe you don't want Rush of Essence, but what will save you in that situation would be having that Honored Guest, right? 20% of your maximum mana. Make sure you have more mana, which will give you more back, right? Or maybe you could go for Healing Journey. If you don't have that great sustain, take yourself Healing Journey, okay? And as long as you're going with Guardians, for example, you have lots of life. So that scales well with that, alright? Now I will say that the Doggos, the Leeching Beasts, only works because the gem, the Essence of Anguish, automatically gives us life on hit, okay? Because if you're doing this non-seasonal, this will not work because you will have so little life on hit, unless if you get it on your bracers or something like that, that you're not going to be able to get sustained. And unfortunately, actually, although they kind of compare to how much Ghost Trance would give me, but Ghost Trance actually very much benefits from having, from having this Guardians, because it heals you 5% of your maximum life, okay, every single second. So the more life you have, the more you get healed. Leeching Beasts, unfortunately, do not do that. So actually, Leeching Beasts are way better, I would say, for Captain Crimson's, because you have less life, so they're going to be regenning it really quickly. You know what I mean? Versus Big Bad Voodoo, if that's the route that you guys want to take, right? Because again, this is unconventional, I would say. Most people are going to take Big Bad Voodoo, but most people also don't know stuff about breakpoints, okay, and attack speed, and maybe they don't care. Maybe they just are hoping to get that perfect boss that never moves, that Rift Guardian, and maybe they're hoping to do this like the whole time on the Rift Guardian. Because if that's the case, then you could have as much attack speed as you want. But if you want to spam like this, and by the way, spamming is better for Stricken, okay, by the way, because your Manitou stacks Stricken very slowly. But actually spamming like this on the boss does stack your Stricken the fastest way. That is the fastest way to do it, so that's why I'm opting for this method. But, so like this, I don't even know if I would want to do that on the boss. And just like leaving them there with like ginormous attack speed buffs. I don't even know if I would want to do that because my Stricken is barely getting anything, you know, besides from the Manitou, right? So, but this is slow, you know. It has a very slow like proc, what is that called? Like proc rate or whatever. Very weird. But, so yeah, that's why, you know, you have some choices. But what was I saying here before? Oh yeah, with like Captain Crimson's and cooldown. But yeah, I like this variation with the Leeching Beasts because Big Bad Voodoo is not tied to anything like that I need, and it's not up all the time. Okay. It's not up all the time, and again, it would just require too much fidgeting. Okay, I would have to play a certain play style while it's active, and I would have to play the other play style while it's not. Now remember, while I could, if I could, I still opted to do this throughout the Rift, right? On the Rift Guardian, I was spamming, but throughout the Rift, if I could, I opted to do this route, right, without the spam. But again, it's harder said. Sorry, it's harder done than said. It's easier said than done, is what I'm trying to say. Okay? You gotta be moving around. You gotta, and you know, like without spamming, right? Because when I'm doing this, I'm actually healing myself from life on hit as well, right? On top of my dogs. But just like chilling there is kind of hard. But the dogs do a good job of healing. They heal roughly like 100k, right? Because there's 3 of them, and I have 36k life per hit. So each of their bites, right? 3 bites gives you over 100,000. So it's like 100,000. Let's just pretend once, like a per second, which is pretty good. Anyway, so before any buffs, I landed at 1.92. Okay, you should be around there. You do not want to be too far. You do not want to be over. Let's see. Let's double check what you don't want to be before you proc your potion to get the attack speed frenzy shrine effect. You do not want to have more than 1.99, I believe. Yeah. You do not, or no, 1 point, I would, even to be on the safe side, don't go over 1.98. Like, you could have 1.98, just don't go over it for your attacks per second, okay? Yeah, my attack. Oh, yeah, I completely forgot. You could technically take out, if you have way too much, okay, you could technically take out attack speed from here. But you would definitely want to prefer to, take it off your gear and instead put, like, intelligence on there, right? But I only have 3 pieces, and it's almost better to not have them exactly perfect, at least one of them. Where else was I? Let's see, crit chance, we're at 60%, 60.50, 60.5, not great. I have bad rolls, 4.5 here, 5.5, 5.5 again, 5. The only perfect ones are the Gazing Demise, the Traveler's Pledge, which actually is a very nice one. Too bad it's not 20% cold damage, but besides that, it has melee damage reduction, which is nice. And my gloves. My gloves are also not great. 6% attack speed, 37 crit damage. But, it is what it is. Here, I could have opted for some cooldown, but I like this roll, with extra life. I have the Golden Trio here. Again, I do have that beautiful Golden Trio Travelers, but I actually ended up, taking it off. And again, let's just slower look at my gear. There's also life and armor. You want armor rolls, by the way, wherever you can, especially things like, your chest and your pants. The only other possibility here, I would say, like, I would even get rid of the vitality if I could and just have armor and then elite damage reduction. Elite damage reduction could go a long way as well, all right? But 770 or more armor is huge, okay? And then look at this guy, and let's take a look at this guy. Oh, this one's not even augmented. Yeah. Everything else that could be augmented is the jewelry. None of it is ancient, so. And this has strength on it, which allocates to armor. Let's keep going. Crit hit damage, 473. Area damage, you could have 0. By the way, this is not an area damage build, so please do not put area damage, because the accumulation does not take into account area damage, and it pretty much has kind of like a built-in area damage, right, in itself, because of that whole accumulation factor and the fact that the phantasms are, whoops, like that, right? That they're like these little circles, right? They're stacking things tick-wise, which is awesome. So you could even take these off out of your Paragon. It really does not matter. Cooldown, I literally have no cooldown roll besides the one from the helm, from the shard, and from Paragon, of course. Because my Enchantress is actually going for amplification, which is the static, remember? Cold damage is not going to be convoluted, right? Diluted with, like, your pet damage would be from Mask of Jerem, so go for amplification, unless if you really, really want that cooldown. Like, if you're going with Captain Crimson's, there is an argument to be made for going here, okay? For going with cooldown, and maybe even more so than going with this. And then here I went with range damage reduction. Ooh, this is huge. And also armor. This is just far superior than this, I would say. I know you could get damage here, but the cooldown is long enough for this to not be like a full, like always up kind of thing, right? And I have cooldown rolled where I kind of can. Cooldown here, cooldown here, cooldown here. This one doesn't have cooldown here. So my mercenary's cooldown, my follower's cooldown is pretty big. Where is it? What does it say? Cooldown, where are you? Dude, am I going crazy? Resistance. Why doesn't it say cooldown? Crit chance, crit damage. Damage reduction. All the resistances. Huh. I never realized this. It never tells you cooldown here? But anyway, she has a lot of cooldown. And I don't think this could be up all the time. And I'm like, who cares? I'd rather have the defense here. And then I did take the kind of like the free, you know, fatal damage, kind of like free second life. And this, unfortunately, people just leave this blank, which you guys should too, because this sucks for dragging purposes, like to drag monsters along. This kind of sucks, and this is not good either. But yeah, that's what I went for with her. Oh, by the way, I didn't go over her gear as well. She's rocking a Thunder Fury. I love this proc, but besides that, she needs she has canes for the attack speed and obviously the GR key drop rate. Tal Rashas for the attack speed. By the way, I have attack speed everywhere. And Dario's Visage attack speed. Homing pads. This is nice for some trickery if you want to go back to the first floor. Okay, but it's usable. It's doable. Right, you lose all of your buffs, but you can go back to the first floor if you save like a power pylon there or something like that. Okay, homing pads is nice. Gloves of Worship. This is a must. This is the thing that lets us have those shrine effects for 10 minutes. Nems are a must. Flavor of Time is a must. Ring of Royal Grandeur, in this case, is a must. And the Oculus Ring is a must. Now here, people go for either the cold weapons, right? Like things like this. Azarath or Engjeng Do. But I really like Thunder Fury, okay? And the reason behind that is because very few items or effects or even skills lower the enemy's attack speed. Not their movement speed, but their attack speed. Very rare, and this is one of those few instances. Now, I did roll a poison damage roll on it. Do you guys see that in the top primary? I rolled its natural like lightning damage that it comes with to poison damage only because I wanted it to proc the Essence of Anguish. Okay, because we physically do not do any poison damage besides Pyronado. But weirdly enough, like your Enchantress could proc it for you to get the cooldown and the movement speed buff, which is very weird, but there's Diablo 3 for you. So as long as your follower has poison damage at her weapon, then she procs it for you. And I also gave her a random Remnant of Pain with an attack speed roll. Okay, that's the only reason behind that. And same thing here, I just gave this to her for the intelligence roll, the Sliver of Terror. And I guess the cooldown and stuff like that. I'm sure she benefits from that as well. But yeah, that's what I'm rocking. Excuse me. Don't worry about the Esoteric Alteration gem in here or the Gem of Efficacious Toxin. I just randomly put them in there because I was experimenting with keeping her alive while she wore the relic that gave her access to all skills. So don't worry about that. But where else were we? Here, let's continue here. Sorry, we kind of got off track. I'm rocking 73% cold damage. Alright, that's coming from the Enchantress, from here, from the bracers, from the amulets, and I believe from the altar. I think so. Yeah, from the altar as well. So that's that. And Spirit Barrage damage. Look at that, 103. Ooh, 60 from here. So this is a huge chunk. This is why you need this Vujus here versus the Barber. Okay, because the 60%. By the way, let me just show you what a Barber would normally like roll with. Like, look, the Barber also comes, by the way, with a nasty 400 to 500% damage variation roll on the accumulated damage, but naturally in its regular stats it has no Spirit Barrage damage, and this 60% is huge, which is what this 103 is coming from. So 60, and then this could roll 15, which I have full. This could roll 15, which I only have 14. And this could roll 14 or 15 as well. but this is kind of hard to get, all right? So it's no big deal if you don't have this third piece, okay? I would say. But look, I mean, I couldn't even go further. Look how much a reroll for this costs. 20 mil to reroll this another time. And I just can't get one with 15. I just can't. I literally can't, y'all. See? I've done so much, I couldn't get 15, so that's that. What else? Armor. So you want to be, I mean, I don't know. I always like to hit like 75, 76% damage reduction from armor, okay? I highly recommend it, but if you can't get it here, right? Like these I think are no-brainers. Boots, pants, chest are no-brainers. If anything, don't get it here. Get yourself a cooldown roll, especially if you're going like with Crimson, right? You want cooldown and resource cost reduction for both those reduction pieces and the damage bonus. So yeah, I would hit that, but please at least have 70%. Okay, I would say that to be minimum. Missile damage reduction, I don't know, this is coming from both the Enchantress and I believe the Altar, because I do not have missile damage reduction anywhere. I only have one melee reduction and then one melee reduction stat, and then a huge melee reduction stat from the gem, from the Sliver of Terror. That's where this comes from. Oh boy, oh yeah, baby. But the missile damage reduction comes from the Enchantress, from here, that's 6%, and then the rest I think comes from the Altar, which is kind of crazy to think about it, right? I don't see anything else. I don't think so. Where else? This is also from the Altar. So yeah, life, I have just this 11% and this 12% roll for the percent life, and the rest come from Paragon. So I do end up at 1.5 mil life. Now, you know, if you're not going with Guardian, I don't know, maybe have at least like somewhere around 800k, I would say, is like a nice spot to be at for GR 150. But as you can see here, by the way, this is what I was talking about for the doggos, right? For the leeching beasts, that's 36k per attack per dog, right? And then look at this, 14 bonus to globe, to pickup radius, okay? This is huge. This benefits our swampland attunement, which pretty much gives us huge survivability besides lightning and arcane. And it gives us grave injustice. But grave injustice I'm not too worried about, right? Because like as long as you're like there when the things are dying, right? But swampland attunement, you know, the more people surround you, even if they're far away from you, they actually help you out, right? So that's why you do want a big pickup radius if you can. It's not a requirement, but it does help a lot, and it's a quality of life too. Just even moving a little bit, you know, when you're spamming, just moving a little bit sometimes picks up globes around you. You know what I mean? Because again, that globe pickup radius is huge. And yeah, I do have this one max mana roll on my Gazing Demise. Now again, if I was using like Honored Guest, I would definitely put maximum mana in here, because I think maxing this gives you 250 intelligence, and 250 intelligence is not going to save you. It's not going to make or break your build. You would be better off having it in mana if you're going to use something like Honored Guest. What else can I say? Mana regen, you get 50 naturally, and then I have an extra 12 here. Now it does say from the Mundunugu set that your damage does increase based on the damage or mana regen per second. But I don't think it's that much as people think it is. But also Rush of Essence does it for you too. So really, Rush of Essence, do you see you guys that? Do you see that? Look at that. That's right here. Rush of Essence, this thing right here, actually physically also acts as a damage dealer. But it means that you have to be spamming, right? Like if you're not spamming it, then your regen per second is like nothing. So my max is 322, which is insane. And mana cost reduction, this is just coming from, I believe, the gem and from Paragon? I think so, right? Because I don't have any other damage or resource cost reduction rolls. And yeah, I think that pretty much covers it, y'all. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Did I forget to mention anything? Attack speed everywhere on the follower if you care about the damage proc here. Cooldown otherwise if you're using a lot of cooldown skills, but it does not affect Fate's Lapse, unfortunately. Attack speed, be careful with your own attack speed, okay? If you want to min-max, you do not want to get over 2.38 attacks per second on the Rift Guardian specifically. Alright? And I would say go with the Traveler's Pledge. Some people go with Squirts and a Convention of Elements like this. But I don't know. It feels like maybe it might be a little inconsistent, and the Squirts kind of requires that shielding pylon, right? Like unless at that point you would almost want to save a shield for the Rift Guardian, right? Or I guess just take it throughout the Rift and just like annihilate everything, and then don't have it for the Rift Guardian while having like 10 plus minutes on the to kill the boss. But the Squirt's negative effect, I think, just negates it a lot of the time. And yes, this always happens, right? Like it does eventually come across, but like I don't know. This is an iffy combination, I would say, But Travelers is more consistent, and I actually don't know I'm not sure exactly how the damage accumulation when it comes to crits and stuff like that happens for your conventional elements cycle. So just to be on the safer side, I would go with Traveler's Pledge. If I had to do this all over again, that's what I would do it again with. And yeah, if anything, I would if I went again, I would probably want to try it with Pain Enhancer. I would just be very curious how much the trash would be affected by Pain Enhancer by like the crazy high attack speed. That would be a curiosity of mine. But besides that, yeah, I ended up with around 30,000, maybe like around 31,000 intelligence, because I am 2,191 Paragon. This is definitely doable before this, okay? And I ended up with around 90k vitality, right? But yeah, get yourselves as much arguments as you can. Try to get this. If not, the Helm, I would say just get vitality, okay? Vitality isn't the worst. It doubled, right? It benefits your Guardians, so that's a good thing. If you're going with Guardians, it's not a big deal that you lose like one Spirit Barrage roll. But if that's the case, try to get it on your Mojo, alright? But anyways, that's the build, guys. That's Mundunugu for you. I pretty much only play Witch Doctor, by the way. That's why I have so much to say about these guys, about this character. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, hit the like button, right? Make sure that you guys are subscribed. It lets me know and the algorithm know that you guys want to be part of the community. Yeah, I do Diablo 2 stuff, Diablo 3 stuff. Diablo 3 less, but Diablo 2 for sure. And I'll sprinkle in some extra, like, some old school games, some awesome hidden gems that people either forgot about or just maybe unheard of, But anyways, I hope you guys are enjoying Season 36. Alright, so like I said, make sure you're subscribed. I stream a lot, so just go to the live section. I don't post videos that much, but in the live section, there's all these streams. Everything has a title. Everything is pretty much telling you what I'm up to. You guys can follow along, and yeah, and we could all have a great time. So yeah, take it easy, everybody. I hope you guys are really enjoying season 36. Let me know if you guys have reached your GR 150, what your favorite class is, because I think Witch Doctor is just the best. Okay, no matter what, it is the coolest class for sure. And I will see you guys in the next one. So peace out, everybody. Take it easy, YouTube. Adios, amigos. Bye bye. Bye bye.